Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
The High Court in Guyana allows the controversial house-to-house registration process to continue. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Wednesday, August 14th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. The house-to-house registration being undertaken by the Ghana Elections Commission, GECOM, to create a new voters list ahead of elections which are due, will be allowed to continue. Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire on Wednesday ruled that the exercise is neither a violation of the Constitution nor unlawful, and she refused to set a date for elections. The Chief Justice's judgment came in the challenge filed by Attorney-at-Law Christopher Ram to the house-to-house registration and a request that a date be set for elections. The applications were filed after GECOM began the registration exercise last month, and no date was set for regional and general elections, even after the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, ruled that the no-confidence motion passed against the government last December was valid and the polls should be held. Under the Constitution, elections should be held within 90 days after the passage of a no-confidence motion. On the issue of elections, Justice George Wiltshire said it was not for her court to set a date, and she reminded that is the task of the various stakeholders. As for the house-to-house registration, while the Chief Justice said there was nothing wrong with it, she urged GECOM to consider other forms of verification, stressing that the Elections Commission could not operate as if it is in a normal elections cycle. She said the law provides for the General Registrar and the Chief Immigration Officer to play roles in verifying the register of electors. While reacting to the ruling, former Attorney General Anil Nandlal said he intends to appeal since there cannot be an open date for elections. He maintained that the court could have set a date or even a timeline. But Attorney General Basil Williams welcomed the court's decision. He described the ruling as a victory for Guyanese, and he said he hopes GECOM would now be in a position to deliver a credible list in the shortest possible time. Williams said he could not address the issue of appeal since the Chief Justice's written judgment has not yet been received.
First, one would need to read the judgment and make that determination as to where and whether one should seek to appeal. So we'll have to look at the judgment and see and make that determination. The body, though, GECOM, as I said, who has the remit to conduct these elections and also national registration, what is important is that the Learned Chief Justice held that the house-to-house registration that is being currently conducted by GECOM is not unconstitutional, right, as was contended. So it's a lawful exercise by GECOM. And she had a caveat about persons not being taken off the register unless they're dead or migrated in that scenario.
Over in Trinidad and Tobago, Junior Finance Minister Alison West is the new Public Administration Minister after Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley temporarily held the portfolio on the heels of the sacking of Marlene MacDonald, who's facing fraud-related charges. A brief statement from the Office of the Prime Minister on Wednesday said that West, who was appointed to the government in June 2017, would also continue to serve as Minister in the Ministry of Finance. She spoke to the media after the announcement about her priorities going into the ministry.
It's a new challenge. I'm looking to see what difference I can make in the short time that I have. I would like to be able to make a positive impact in the IT world, free Wi-Fi areas, better coordination of the IT system within the government, wider use of e-payments, that kind of thing I'd like to focus on.
Meantime, Prime Minister Rowley also announced the appointment of government backbencher Adrian Leonce as Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Public Utilities. He was sworn in on a Wednesday. The statement also disclosed that the Prime Minister had asked President Paula May Weeks to revoke the appointment of Garvin Simonette as a senator. Simonette had initially been named as McDonnell's replacement, but he declined the position before his swearing in and resigned as a senator when it came to light that he had a 2014 conviction for driving under the influence in the United States. Meantime, a senior opposition MP has charged that based on the recent political developments, the People's National Movement, PNM government has collapsed and Prime Minister Rowley should call elections. Dr. Rudal Munilal says with MacDonald fired and Simonette resigning, Rowley's leadership is in question. He was speaking on CNC3's Morning Brew program.
Dr. Rowley's leadership faces today the sternest test of his leadership. And quite frankly, I share the view of the opposition leader that the government has collapsed. They are holding on, I think, by their fingernails at the edge of a cliff now, and they are marking time. And Dr. Rowley should now consider strongly whether or not the next letter he sends to the president is a letter to dissolve the parliament and call a general election.
Well, opposition leader Kamla Prasad-Besesser is calling for a united front in a bid to remove the PNM from power in the next elections that are constitutionally due by December next year. She has acknowledged that her United National Congress UNC administration made mistakes along the way before it was removed from office in 2015. But speaking at a UNC public forum on Tuesday night, she promised that if she is made Prime Minister again, she would repair the damage done by the PNM government and put the Twin Island Republic back on the right track. Prasad-Besesser said she would take on the challenge and crime and unemployment would fall and security would be restored. She also extended an olive branch to the labor movement, promising that under her administration, it would no longer see itself as an outsider to leadership in how the nation grows and evolves. The Movement for Social Justice, whose membership includes many trade unionists, left the coalition in 2016 amid concerns that the labor movement was being marginalized by Prasad-Besesser's administration. CNC3's Jesse Ramdeo reports.
Opposition leader Kamla Prasad-Besesser has announced a plan to rescue a nation she described as in crisis under the PNM. To achieve her mission, she's hoping to recruit a group her then People's Partnership government fell out of favor with, the Labour Movement.
And so we will continue to work with the Labour Movement. We will work with advocacy groups, yes. We made some mistakes, but I promised them that we must work with all the advocacy group, the NGOs and the CBOs. We will work together and I will listen to you to craft a way forward for our future.
But while extending the olive branch to the Labour leaders at the Gasparilla Secondary School on Tuesday, she also bid farewell to long-standing party member and Tabakit MP Dr. Suraj Rambachan. The former Works Minister announced he would not be seeking political office again, ending nearly half a century in politics. Meanwhile, as she lamented the challenges faced by local government councillors because of limited funding, Prasad-Besesser said the problem links back to the government's mismanagement of the economy.
You know where the overdraft is today total? $40.2 billion. This is under your red and ready. Talk about prudent. They maxed out the overdraft, they increased the limit, and they've gone beyond the fumes and spending, and then they raided the HSF, they raided the NGC. And today, what do they have to show for it? Nothing. Nothing.
Prasad-Besesser said things had become so difficult in the country that parents were not able to afford school books for their children.
The Bahamas government is seeking to prohibit single-use plastic foodware and bags, along with making it a criminal offense to release balloons into the atmosphere, an action that would carry hefty fines. The Environmental Protection Control of Plastic Pollution Act 2019 was released for public consultation on Tuesday, and the government has proposed that the law come into force on January 1st, 2020. According to the proposed legislation, no one is is allowed to release balloons if they're filled with gas that causes them to rise in the air. Anyone found guilty of having intentionally released balloons into the air could be fined up to $200,000 for a first-time offense, and in the case of a continuing offense, a further fine of $500 per day during the time the offense continues. The proposed legislation states that no person shall import, distribute, manufacture, possess, sell, supply, or use in the Bahamas any non-biodegradable, oxo-biodegradable, or biodegradable single-use plastic bags. But the legislation would not apply to businesses that manufacture expanded polystyrene in the country for export. Still to come, concerns over a shortage of specialist teachers in Jamaica ahead of the start of the new school year. We'll be right back.
Now we're ready to show the world.
The opening ceremony of CaribFesta 14 will be aired live on Friday, August 16th from 6:45 p.m. View the wondrous beauty and majesty of the Caribbean's premier arts and cultural festival. The best of Caribbean culture on full display at the Queen's Park Savannah, Port of Spain. Friday, 16th August at 6:45 p.m.
CaribFesta 14 Trinidad and Tobago.
After an emergency, you can help yourself and others by looking, listening, and linking.
Looking because you want to see if the person has some signs that is in distressing. Looking for the symptoms, how best you can support the person. And then listening, because listening is very important. Listening with your ears, listening with your eyes. If you do that well, then you'll be able to link them to the appropriate resources.
Be ready, look, listen, and link.
Welcome back. There are concerns that schools in Jamaica are likely to face a shortage of specialist teachers when the new academic year begins in September. President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Garth Anderson, says that more and more teachers are resigning to take up jobs overseas. And he says many of them are going to the United States and Japan, and he fears it will not be easy to fill the void left by their departure.
I have been reliably informed that a number of teachers in critical areas of science and mathematics will be leaving the classroom, and I anticipate that in September we are going to have a serious problem filling those positions. I do not have the exact figure in terms of resigning, because the fact is that teachers can in fact make their plans and they have not yet informed schools as we speak, but I know of a fact that some schools have in fact gotten resignations, and the principals, administrators are aware that these teachers will be leaving our shores.
Media houses from Belize, Jamaica, and Cuba swept most of the awards at this year's Caribbean Media Awards, which were presented during the 50th Caribbean Broadcasting Union General Assembly in San Andres, Colombia on Tuesday night. CBU President Gary Allen said 121 entries were submitted from all 10 of the member entities from 7 countries across 17 categories. In the television category, RJR Gleaner in Jamaica won the Best Documentary and Best Investigative Report. It also won a Best News Item in the radio category. Great Belize Productions Limited won the People's Choice Award, Best News Item and Best Commercial Spot in television. Belize also received the top awards in the Climate Change and Golden Conch Shell categories, as well as the top award in the category Disaster Resilience. Best Magazine Program in Television went to ICRT of Cuba, which also won a Best Public Service Spot and for the coverage of HIV/AIDS prevention, treatment, care and support, as well as Best Documentary and Best Drama Programs in the radio category. Trinidad and Tobago's CCN TV6 was adjudged the winner in the category of responsible coverage of children's issues. Ghana predicts economic growth for 2019. Barbados reports a more favorable economic outlook for the past 12 months, and there calls for the removal of some regional trade protections. Mary-Claire Williams has the details of those stories in this week's Newsline Business.
The Guyana government is anticipating 4.5% economic growth this year. Finance Minister Winston Jordan made the prediction on Wednesday in his 2019 mid-year economic report. Jordan told reporters the improved performance so far this year was fueled by growth in a number of sectors, including rice, forestry, gold, manufacturing and construction. He also said the government has seen continuous growth over the past 4 years.
In 2015, we recorded growth of 3.2%. In 2016, 3.4%. In 2017, which was our only bad year, 2.1%. In 2018, 4.1%. And in 2019, we estimated 4.5%.
Jordan is concerned, however, that the current political uncertainty could affect the government's targets.
Quite frankly, since 2015, we have been operating in a challenging environment, but it has been made more difficult in December 2018, and that remains political uncertainty, and that could have an impact on growth.
Over in Barbados, Central Bank Governor Cleviston Haynes says the economic outlook has become more favorable over the past 12 months. In his review of the economy for the first half of 2019, Haynes noted that public finances have improved, the international reserves have recovered, and financial pressures caused by high debt have started to ease. Haynes, however, noted that while investor confidence is returning, economic activity for 2019 has been sluggish.
The success so far in repairing macroeconomic imbalances has been based on unwavering fiscal discipline. Maintaining this commitment remains paramount as government seeks to reassure investors of its commitment to a sustained adjustment effort. This will allow further access to IMF resources and help to catalyze other funding to enhance the reserve buffer. Conclusion of the external debt negotiations will further strengthen the macroeconomic environment by reducing uncertainty, solidifying the downward trajectory for debt, and enabling Barbados to work with investors to capitalize on emerging opportunities.
There's been a call for the removal of some regional trade protections. Goods imported from outside of CARICOM are subjected to a common external tariff, but the CEO of the Jamaica Producers Group, Jeffrey Hall, says it may be doing more harm than good.
I don't believe that Jamaica will get ahead by putting a wall around the sugar industry, for example, and saying that we're going to become the world leader in sugar by creating certain protectionist rules. I believe that we have the advantage of being at the center of North America and South America, and we can be a place in which, despite the geopolitical arguments that are happening internationally, you can invest here because we have good relationships and you can add value to goods here and export them across the region.
Mary-Claire Williams, Newsline Business.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies lose the final ODI against India and end the series without a win. We'll be right back.
Join global, regional and local financial technology experts at the 3rd annual Central Bank Meets Blockchain Conference, Beyond Borders. Last year's conference was a sold-out event. This year's speakers will present on the role of central bank digital currencies in digital transformation within developing nations. Join us at the 3rd annual Central Bank Meets Blockchain Conference, Beyond Borders, September 10th, Hilton Barbados Resort.
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
It's gonna be something special. We're gonna come together. It's a meeting of the island. There will never be a time like this one. We come to connect, share and invest. Turn the eyes of the world to CaribVision. Tell the cultures to come and bring the best. CaribVision 14.
A superb century by Captain Virat Kohli guided India to their second victory by 6 wickets and sealed the ODI series against the West Indies 2-0 in the third and final match at Queen's Park Oval in Trinidad on Wednesday. With India needing 241 to win, Kohli raced 114 runs, his 43rd ODI ton, as India took charge of the rain-reduced innings of 35 overs. Shreyas Iyer chipped in with 65 from 41 deliveries. Fabian Allen picked up figures of 2 wickets for 40 runs, while Kemar Roach grabbed 1 for 53 for the West Indies. Earlier, West Indies batsman Chris Gayle blasted 8 fours and 5 sixes as he dominated a 115-run opening stand with fellow left-hander Evan Lewis, whose 43 came from 29 balls and included 5 fours and 3 sixes. But both fell in quick succession when Lewis miscued a slog at leg spinner Yuzvendra Chahal and was caught in the deep in the 11th over. And then Gayle belted left-arm seamer Khalil Ahmed straight to mid-off 6 balls later in the following over. Rain then halted the West Indies innings at 158 for 2 after 22 overs, and on resumption, they blasted 82 runs from their remaining 13 overs. Left-hander Nicholas Pooran struck a 16-ball 30, while Shimron Hetmeyer and Shea Hope, who had struggled before the break, chipped in with handy scores as well. Khalil Ahmed finished with 3 for 68, while fellow seamer Mohammed Shami supported with 2 for 50. Women's 2020 cricket will debut at the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, the first time in 24 years the sport has been included at the showpiece. 8 teams will do battle over 8 match days at Edgbaston at the July 27th to August 7th Games, one of 18 sports that will see an estimated 4,500 athletes descending on the English West Midlands. Manu Shawnee, Chief Executive of Cricket's world governing body, the International Cricket Council, says it's a truly historic moment for women's cricket and for the global cricket community, who are united in their support of this bid. Cricket last featured at the Commonwealth Games in 1998 when the event was staged in Kuala Lumpur. South Africa captured gold in the one-day format, which saw 16 teams compete across 4 groups. Games President Dame Louise Martin hailed cricket as a truly Commonwealth sport and said she hoped the 2022 event would ignite a lasting relationship with women's cricket. To football now, FIFA President Gianni Infantino got a first-hand look of a new sporting academy as his tour of the Caribbean continued in St. Lucia. More in this report from Choice TV.
This has been the media's first glimpse of what the National Sports Academy will look like when it comes to infrastructure. On Saturday, Prime Minister Alan Shastney, SLFA President Lyndon Cooper, and consultant Don Lockerbie took the presidents of FIFA and CONCACAF on a tour of the facility.
We went to show the president of FIFA the new sports academy we're doing in Grosley, where we're going to have over 40 kids who are going to be residing at the school, and we have another 80 kids who now have signed up who are going to be day students to be part of this sports academy. And the first team that's going happens to be the under 15 boys football team, and then eventually to get the girls in as well. And so coming also now to this FIFA facility here, and then being able to show what we're doing in Soufriere, what we're going to be doing in the two Mikus in Dennery, and our plans for the rest of the country when it comes to football, was just really an exciting time to have both he here and Victor, who is the president of CONCACAF.
The president of FIFA, Gianni Infantino, says that the tour of the National Sporting Academy was a welcomed part of his visit.
We are investing together with the federation and with the government into women's football, girls' football, boys, youth, men, women, building pitches, building infrastructure, and ultimately doing something great for the community, the society in St. Lucia, but also for the top level through the academy and through the results and investment in the youth sector. So extremely positive. I think that St. Lucia has and can be and has to be an example not only for the region but beyond the region on what is done in football. I'm very, very happy today.
Staying in football, Belize is aiming to increase the number of referees in the Central American Caribbean territory, and several referees from CONCACAF footballing nations have thrown their support behind the country's recruitment drive for young referees. Director of the Football Federation of Belize, Eugene Contreras, is hopeful the country can reap the benefits of a workshop set up by the federation.
The first idea came is that we are on a recruitment drive for young referees in Belize. So we team up with UNCAF, which is part of CONCACAF, and we brought this course here for referees that are in projection to be on the FIFA list in the next 5 or 6 years. Sure, we have referees coming from all of the regions from CONCACAF, in the Caribbean, including Mexico, and we have all of Central America. All the referees that are involved in this course are part of their federation in their country.
Contreras stressed the importance of the workshop.
The first recruitment step to get more referees involved and get more referees on the FIFA list. Therefore, this course is like a first step on the ladder for our young referees.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
And that's Caribbean Newsline from all of us at CMC News. Thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.